All right, so in this video, I'm going to be explaining the automations. So automations are super important, and I'll show you why. So if you go into contacts and then your boards. So what we typically do, if you haven't watched the other videos, is that after we talk to the customer the first time, they're going to go into one of 4 boards. So we have just curious, 4+ months, 2 to 4 months, and 3 to 6 weeks. And like everything else, it's basically the least qualified to the left, most qualified to the right. So not only do we spend more time with these people, but we also follow up with them more often than we would someone that's further out. Because these are the people that are most likely to move forward like now. So we want to have constant communication with them, or just more often, okay, compared to this. So the way we typically set up is for 3 to 6 weeks, we follow up with them on a weekly basis. 2 to 4 months is every 2 weeks, and 4+ months is every month, okay? So, and the way we do this is after they're in here for 7+ days, then they will go to here on that 8th day. Okay. Now the salesperson's been out for a few weeks because of health issues and weather and just crappy time of year. And basically, so she has to follow up with these people. Okay. But now I'm going to show you how to get in there. Basically go to your name, and then what you're going to do is going to settings. Okay. And then you're going to go down on the left and look for automation. Okay, and here is where we got it. So this one is after 7 days follow up. Okay, so I'm just going to go in here so you can see what it looks like. And what you have, first thing you want to name it. Now, what I found out afterwards is you really want to label each one very accurately. Okay, the reason for that, I'm going to go back into here. So the way I have it set up, if you notice, I start with 1. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So if you're looking here, let's do cancel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I have some other ones. Okay. The reason why I have it set up like that, because when you start running more and more automations, it's not good enough just to call it like, a 7-day follow-up or something like that. What I actually had to do is each one, this is 1, this is 2, 3, 4, and 5. Because when you go to start trying to find the automations, like it's just a nightmare. So basically, what I personally do is do like 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. So they all stay together. And then once I started doing automations for consultation for the second board, it's 2A, 2B, 2C. You get the idea, right? And just do that along the way. So going back in here, we're going to go back to this. Oops. Okay. And so what we have here is it's the rule name. Like I said, you want to label it. Make sure, like I said, me personally, I do the board and then a letter and then what it is. Okay. So you can do different types of triggers. There's event type and time-based. This is going to be time-based because we want to do it after a certain period of days. And trigger record is a contact because we're working with the contact itself. It's not going to be a job or something like that. Okay, so here you would pick the number of days or number, you can do anything, months, years, everything. So if you want to do follow-up periods where you basically do work for someone and then you want to follow up a year later just to follow up, or maybe you do something like we only do fencing. So if you did staining and it's got to be every like 3 to 4 years, well, then you can do those kinds of follow-ups with them as well and pick, after 2 years follow up. Or you can do stuff like where with snow removal or whatever it may be, you can follow up with. Anyway. So in here, so if its status is equal to 3 to 4 weeks, now mine is really, it says 3 to 6. That's what it really should be. So it's 3 to 6 weeks. I just never went and changed the original, board. So anyway, 3 to weeks. And if the type equals fence installation, okay? Because that's the board type, okay? So we do that, and it has to require that both are true because it could be like the 3 to 6 weeks, but if you do like fence staining or something like that, well, then that would be in a fence staining board, not fence installation, right? So we put that in there. And then for the action, it's literally, and you can go in here to see what all you can change, but we're changing the status, okay? So in this case, and you can do extra things as well if you want to do another change status, send an email, webhooks, or create tasks. And now what are these? So create a task. You could create a task for your employee to say, follow up with this person. Now, but for me, I'd rather just see it in this. Let me go in here. So you could set up a task if you would like, and just set, send an alert to, the salesperson, hey, follow up with this person. But I like to see in here, like if this was all set as, alerts or, tasks for that user, well, it's going to be a little bit harder to find the stuff. Yeah, you can run reports, but it's just not needed. So that's why I have it set up like that. And then send an email, same thing. So you can send an email to the person, hey, just following up, blah, 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 that kind of thing. And then to change the status, that's what we're working on now. So basically taking them, in here and change the status from going into here to going into here. That's changing the status, okay? And then the last one is a webhook. So if you're not sure what a webhook is, it's basically information that this program will send to another program to make it perform some kind of other action. So it's a little bit more involved. Typically when I'm dealing with webhooks, I'm going to hire someone else to do that stuff for me. At the end of the day, can I learn it? Absolutely. But you also got to realize that your time is, important. And I look at everything in a dollar amount. So like, if it's going to take me an hour, which, with this kind of stuff, I'll swear it's an hour, and then it might be 2 and 3 or 4, and then, throwing a computer out the window. So if I can pay someone on Fiverr to do it for like $20-$30, well, it's just well worth it, because, my hour is worth way more than $20 an hour. Okay. So you can do that, and then you would just hit continue. In this case, I'm going to cancel. And after that, you do update. And then after that, what you would do is make sure you have it active, because obviously if it's not checked, then it's not going to run for you. Now, what I typically do to make sure things are working is I'll set it up how I think, right? And let's go to here. And then what I would do is I would put someone in that position, to 3 to 4 weeks. Well, mine says 3 to 6 weeks. I would put them in there. And then in here, what I would do is I would change this to 1, and I would change this to minutes. Okay. And then you would update everything and save it, make sure it's activated. And then you would put that person in that 3 to, it says 3 to 4, but it's 3 to 6. And then after a minute, you should just refresh your screen and just make sure it went to where it was supposed to go. Now, if it doesn't, well, then something screwed up, and then you can go back and do it again. And then once it actually works the way it's supposed to, then you would go and change this to the correct time period that you're looking to do. So hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments, and I will be glad to either answer them or even follow up with a follow-up video, just so it can be as clear as possible. So anyway, hope you enjoy, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.